With a closer look at some of these changes.
Hi, good morning, ladies. Yeah, it's called the Minnesota African American Family Preservation and Child Welfare Disproportionality Act. It's got a long name, it's got bipartisan support, and it's expected to do a lot of good. So under this new law, social service agencies have to make active efforts to prevent these out-of-home placements for African American children and other children disproportionately represented in the welfare system. It also sets some new standards for when courts can terminate parental rights and orders them to place a child with a willing and able relative before foster care, among other provisions. And caseworkers paired with these families will also have to take cultural competency training. Declara Tripp fought for years to get her son out of the foster care system after she was mistakenly accused of abuse, and says this is one step closer to justice for all families.
It's really important to have this type of support. So when families go into the system and they are saying this is not what occurred, they can actually take a step and listen. And if there is no evidence to support what you're saying, then you can't just keep moving along because you have the power to do so.
Now, with a lot of changes means a step-by-step process for the rollout. Provisions for the law will take effect in 2027. It's going to be phased in first for Hennepin and Ramsey counties starting next year, and then it will go statewide, ladies.
Yeah, big changes for many of these families. Pauline, thank you. So Popular Park, just north of the metro, is now the scene of a tragedy. Quarry Park and Nature Preserve is in Waite Park, that's just outside of St. Cloud. Has two swimming areas in the pits where crews used to mine for granite. It's where investigators say a 17-year-old boy was swimming on Tuesday. He jumped into the water from a 10-foot cliff and never came back to the surface. First responders did find his body a few hours later. It was under 30 feet of water.
We have the latest on a strike impacting parks across Minnesota's largest city. Workers say they will stay off the job longer than originally planned and continue to picket at Minneapolis parks. Park workers are fighting for better pay and benefits. Their week-long strike was supposed to end yesterday, but now they say there's no end in sight because the park board won't come back to the bargaining table.
The parks are one of this city's very best assets, and we do that work. We make that a reality. We want to get back to doing that work.
All right.
So last night, the park board said it will not return to the bargaining table until the union allows members to vote on that latest offer. The workers maintain city parks, which are consistently ranked among the best in the nation. Park workers plan to picket today at Lindale Farmstead Park from 11 to 4. Then tomorrow they'll be at Pimento on the Lake from 2 to 6. Saturday at Minnehaha Falls from 12 to 4. And Sunday at the Lake Harriet Bandshell from 12 to 4. So today, President Biden is scheduled to hold a rare solo news conference as the NATO summit wraps in Washington.
Also today, some of the president's top advisors expected to meet with Senate Democrats to address their concerns after at least one sitting senator has now joined the calls for Biden to bow out of the 2024 race. CBS News' Jared Hill has the latest.
May we continue to grow stronger and closer in all the years ahead.
President Joe Biden and NATO leaders toasted a unified alliance as the president's support among members of his own party stands on shakier ground. Wednesday, Vermont Democrat Peter Welch became the first sitting senator to call on Biden to pull out of the presidential race. The same day, Democratic Party megadonor George Clooney dealt Biden another blow, calling on the president to step aside in a New York Times op-ed. The actor described his interactions with the president at a fundraiser he hosted for Biden 3 weeks ago, writing, "He wasn't even the Joe Biden of 2020. He was the same man we all witnessed at the debate."
Biden can ignore the polls. He can't ignore fundraising. And that's why George Clooney's statement matters.
The decision is the president's.
Former House Speaker Nancy Pelosi said in an interview yesterday, it's up to the president to decide if he's going to stay in the race. But Mr. Biden's already announced he has no plans to drop out.
Anybody saying that he should resign is a big mistake. We have a wonderful president right now.
Everybody knows that at some point you got to take your grandparents' keys, like probably around the age Joe Biden is.
Biden's Republican rival, former President Donald Trump, slammed both Pelosi and Clooney on social media yesterday, while also poking at the Democrats infighting. Jared Hill, CBS News.
Now, after tonight's news conference, President Biden will hold a campaign event in Michigan. That'll be tomorrow. Former President Trump also back on the campaign trail this weekend in Pennsylvania.
A Democratic lawmaker is trying to impeach 2 Supreme Court justices. Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez has introduced impeachment articles against Justices Clarence Thomas and Samuel Alito. She says their failures to disclose millions of dollars worth of gifts while on the high court, quote, represents nothing less than a constitutional crisis. This effort from Ocasio-Cortez is expected to fail in the Republican-led House of Representatives.
Happening today, residents of Golden Valley will be learning about and discussing Islamophobia. This forum is the second Hate Has No Home Here series. It's hosted by the city's Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Commission. So from 5 until 6:30, there will be a presentation and discussion on the increase of Islamophobia in the U.S. Back in April, the group focused on anti-Semitism, and in August, they'll focus on transphobia. Now, tonight's event will be at Valley Community Presbyterian Church.
So romance is a top genre in fiction literature.
As we continue our series highlighting leaders in the disability community, Susan Elizabeth Littlefield takes us to Western Wisconsin for a tale of romance and representation.
Forward. There you go. My husband has to do things to help me as a disabled person, and he doesn't blink an eye.
For 25 years, Katie Mettner has been living a love story with a painful chapter after a ski accident.
By the time I was 35 and became an amputee, I had already been using a wheelchair for 3 or 4 years.
As she adjusted to her new identity, the avid fiction reader realized she could barely identify with any of the characters in mainstream books.
And I was like, all right, we got to do something about this. We have to write a story that actually talks about what it's like to be a person with a disability, and that you are just a normal person.
And you can fall in love.
And you can fall in love, and you can have an epic love story, because in the end, all we want is a love story.
So the medical transcriber gave it to them. She started writing novels, and immediately people started reading and reacting.
What were the messages saying?
It was so nice to be represented in my favorite genre, because romance is the biggest genre in the world. And when you don't see yourself represented there, it's hard to connect.
In every novel Katie writes, a character has a disability. In this one, the character uses a wheelchair. In this one, the character has a foot drop. And in this one, the character has had her leg amputated.
I write them so that people with disabilities can see themselves represented, but also for people who don't have disabilities, read them and learn. And they learn about people first language, they learn about different disabilities and how they can approach disabled people in their community. Instead of, saying, oh, let me get that for you, saying, can I help you with that? Do you need any help?
And so you incorporate these sort of teaching moments into
the books.
Now she writes Harlequin intrigue mystery novels and general romance. She's published 61 with 10 more on the way as she continues to write the books on inclusion.
We all deserve a great love story.
With photojournalist Joe Berglove in New Richmond, Susan Elizabeth Littlefield, WCCO News.
Now, Katie Mettner, that is her name there. All of her characters are based here in Minnesota and Wisconsin. You can find her books on Amazon.
Coming up, getting to know a popular Midwest comedian. You know him as a lovable Wisconsin character, but did you know he got his start on television reporting the news, how Charlie Berens found his way to comedy.
And a marathoner getting ready for the Olympics in Paris, what her training looks like here in Minnesota.
As we go to break, here's another moment in Minnesota history as WCCO celebrates 75 years. let's go ahead and check out your next drive right now. You're looking at a camera. This is Highway 62 eastbound at Bloomington Road. No trouble that we're seeing in that spot already, but right now we are keeping an eye on Minnesota 5 westbound. There's a stalled vehicle over there. It's partially blocking the roadway. We'll get that pulled up for you here in just a second, but certainly keep that in mind if you're going to be headed out the door. It could cause you a little bit of a slowdown if Highway 62 East, that exit ramp there, is part of your commute. So Wisconsin's Charlie Behrens became famous sharing big laughs and local news stories with the Manitowoc Minute. The internet phenomenon and his observational humor on the Midwest has led to sold-out shows all across the country on a new tour. WCCO's fellow Wisconsinite Derek James caught up with Behrens ahead of several area appearances.
Meanwhile, in the Midwest, we got the season, so we're not getting plastic surgery. No, we're saying, you know, honestly, hon, I hope I'm dead before February.
There may be no better cultural ambassador for Wisconsin than Charlie Behrens.
There's a love for the outdoors. There's a love of, you know, taking care of your neighbor. Being overly kind.
Oh, looks like you got a dead branch over there.
Huh, I guess I do.
I'll take care of that for you.
No, seriously, don't worry about it.
No, I insist. Safety first. Oh, yeah.
The comedian and social media star has a journalism degree from UW-Madison. In college, Behrens was the Wisconsin reporter for MTV News' Choose It or Lose It.
The most incredible aspect of that was it really deepened my love for the state. You know, and made me proud to be from Wisconsin.
And you worked in, what, Dallas, Texas as well, doing TV?
KDAF down there.
I hear there was an incident with explaining a water fountain on there that just blew people away.
It was hot in Dallas, and I said, make sure you stay inside and find a bubbler. And, you know, we get done, and my coworkers are like, a bubbler? You know, and like, they're thinking of it not as the water fountain that I know it being in Wisconsin. They're thinking of it as the device you use to smoke the devil's lettuce. So, you know, I essentially told the DFW area to stay inside and get high today. You know, I got voice coaches tell me talk different because I didn't think I was going to be able to make it news otherwise. When I started doing comedy, the nice thing about comedy is your biggest weakness is sort of your biggest strength, as long as you can make it funny enough.
And then being able to take that news background, the comedy background, that's how Manitowoc Minute became what it was?
It is, yeah. I started doing stand-up just to kind of keep myself sane. And I had this great show, and I was doing this bit of a super Midwest news guy, really. And that really saved my set, even if my set was going bad. But so I had this killer set with that as sort of the featured bit. And I was like, man, that felt great. But then there was this sort of deflating thing, but only, you know, 50 people saw it, you know, or less than that. So I was like, I got to make this a video.
Hey, welcome to the Manitowoc Minute.
That's when everything kind of changed for me.
Behrens' sketch videos have received millions of views. He wrote The Midwest Survival Guide, a New York Times bestseller, and now he's doing all new stand-up on the Good Old-Fashioned Tour.
You're kind of always building new stuff. And the fun part is kind of like, at some point during the show, you just try stuff that's sort of a half-baked bit. But if the crowd's hot and cooking, you can kind of find the next bit with the crowd a little bit because you're just in a different mental energy up there.
And Jeepers Cripes, the guy still has his news chops.
And for WCCO News, I'm Charlie Behrens. Good night. How was that?
That was pretty good.
Because I would do, like, I think what we were doing is like nightcap. A different kind of news. And you always put that kind of smile in that you're like, you're not smiling for any reason, but you're just doing it because you don't want to have your resting anchor face, you know? But anyway.
Yeah, you don't want people to go, why is he so angry?
Why is he angry? I'm not angry. I'm just neutral. So, and then people are like, why are they smiling all the time? It's like, you guys make up your mind, you know?
So Charlie Behrens is performing this Saturday night at the Northern Wisconsin State Fair in Chippewa Falls. We've listed several other upcoming dates in Wisconsin and Minnesota on the screen. Ticket information is at charliebehrens.com. So Minnesotan will be competing in the final event of the Paris Olympics. St. Francis native Dakota Lindworm will be one of 3 women on Team USA competing in the marathon. She's been putting in the work at Training House in Eagan, focusing a lot on strength to help her navigate one of the toughest courses in Olympic history because of the elevation. When she's not lifting weights, you can find her running around the Twin Cities.
When I'm running around Lake Harriet or River Road in St. Paul, I get so many cheers and well wishes. Even around my neighborhood, I'll get an occasional like "Go USA," and I feel like I've just got the best state to represent. Everybody is so supportive of me, and I love being here from Minnesota.
So that leads us to the question of the day. What Summer Olympic event are you most excited for? We want to know. You can chime in right now by scanning the QR code on your screen or by going to WCCO.com/connect. We'll check back in with you in just a bit. So coming up, another update on weather, plus more of this morning's top headlines. Then the new bill introduced by a Minnesota senator to help veterans who are dealing with homelessness across the country. And why some neighborhoods get hotter than others during the summer with extreme heat.
Watching WCCO Mornings, always streaming on CBS News Minnesota.
Good morning and thank you for joining us. I'm Shayla Reeves. Katie Steiner will have your next weather forecast in just a minute. Minneapolis park workers aren't ready to lay down their pickets just yet. Workers say they will stay off the job longer than originally planned. They're fighting for better pay and benefits. Their week-long strike was supposed to end today, but now they say there's no end in sight because the park board won't come back to the bargaining table. The park board said it will not return to the bargaining table until the union allows members to vote on its latest offer. The workers maintain city parks, which are consistently ranked among the best in the nation. Let's go ahead and check in with meteorologist Katie Steiner.
Good morning. It's going to be a beautiful day out there. 86 degrees is your high temperature here in the Twin Cities. We're talking lots of sunshine out there, light winds, about 5 miles per hour. The rain, it's gone, and now we're talking heat, and it's really going to heat up for the weekend. Here's a look to make plans. Saturday, 91 degrees, 93 degrees on Sunday, with the heat index could feel more than 100 degrees, so prepare for that for the weekend.
And let's go ahead and check out your next drive right now. We are monitoring this stalled vehicle. This is off of Highway 62 westbound at Highway 5. It's off there to the side of the road right there at the exit. But, of course, if this is part of your commute, we're just putting it on your radar as you start your day. We'll be back with another update in about 30 minutes.
You're watching WCCO Mornings, always streaming on CBS News Minnesota.
Next on WCCO Mornings, the search for a missing woman in Dakota County continues. Why her family says it's urgent they find her and how you can help bring her home.
Plus, the serious charges for several people are accused of shooting off fireworks in Dinkytown over the 4th of July.
And your personal information may have been part of a health system data breach. How you can ensure your private info stays that way.
Minnesotans finally have their heads above water. How the state is recovering after devastating floods.
Good morning and welcome to WCCO Mornings, streaming live on CBS News Minnesota. I'm Shayla Reeves.
And I'm Heather Brown. Thanks for being on the stream with us.
Law enforcement still needs your help to find a missing 56-year-old woman from Randolph Township. That's just west of Cannon Falls.
Her family says that she went out to go check the mail and then vanished. That was nearly 5 days ago. Pauline Lee joining us this morning from the live desk with the urgent message. It's her family says she might be in danger.
Time is really of the essence, ladies. The family of Nicole Irene Anderson says she's undergoing chemo treatment, fighting a 2-year battle with breast cancer, does not have her medication with her, or her phone, her wallet, or her glasses. And now they're hoping anyone with information will come forward. So take a good look at your screen. This is what she looks like. Nikki's about 5'10", weighs 135 pounds, with blonde hair and brown eyes. She was last seen Saturday morning like this, wearing dark-colored pants, sandals, and a long gray sweatshirt. Law enforcement spent hours in the South Metro yesterday combing for any signs of her, and they were particularly focused on a pile that came from something like a smoker or some ash that was on that blue tarp that you see there in the distance. Nikki's brother says he's afraid that she might have been kidnapped. He and the family say they're holding on to hope, but it gets harder every day.
We have some hope. Yeah, we're hoping that she's maybe just being held captive. That's the best case scenario, I believe, right? But, I mean, you would think after 96 hours, it gets dimmer every day.
Now, we do have calls into law enforcement about where they are in their investigation, what was going on yesterday, but they say they have nothing to share yet about their latest search that happened overnight. So if you know anything, do call police, or you can also call 651-438-TIPS. Again, 651-438-TIPS, guys.
All right, Pauline. Oh, golly. Thank you.
A major crackdown following the 4th of July chaos in Minneapolis.
Prosecutors charged 20 people with serious felonies for shooting fireworks at people, cars, and police officers in Dinkytown. A large-scale law enforcement detail was right in the middle of the chaos, and they released video to show the public just how dangerous the fireworks and the mortars can be. Here's WCCO's Reg Chapman.
From around 11:30 on the 4th of July until 3 a.m., this was the scene in Dinkytown. Groups of young people using fireworks in a dangerous manner. Police say the groups were called to Dinkytown through social media posts. It led to young people between the ages of 15 and 23 making their way to the area. 20 were charged a week later, and the narrative behind those charges differs based on what group they were in.
So there's some places where we were trying to get people to just leave. They kept refusing, kept setting up. And then essentially we conducted and videoed individuals engaging in this activity, and then with the help of the State Patrol came in and arrested everyone that was a part of it.
Group 1 were in the area of 4th Street Southeast and 15th Avenue Southeast and were seen lighting and throwing fireworks and mortars at officers, people walking by, and vehicles. When officers approached, the group ran, only to be caught a short time later. Group 2 were in a surface lot on the 600 block of 12th Avenue Southeast. Police used drones to capture footage of the group standing outside a vehicle launching fireworks in multiple directions. They jumped in a car as police approached, shooting fireworks into the street where people were walking. Police eventually caught up to them. Group 3 were near 12th Avenue Southeast and 6th Street Southeast, shooting commercial-grade fireworks into the air towards people, vehicles, and eventually police officers. One mortar thrown at officers landed underneath a car and exploded. Most faced felony riot charges armed with dangerous weapons. The majority of those arrested were not from the Twin Cities and included some from out of state. Reg Chapman, WCCO News.
Now, the Hennepin County attorney says that more people may still face charges if convicted. Those charged with rioting could face 5 to years in prison and a $10,000 fine.
15 autism centers throughout the state are under investigation by the Minnesota Department of Human Services. These investigations are centered around possible Medicaid fraud. The Minnesota DHS has conducted several investigations and taken measures to withhold payments following credible allegations. We'll continue to update you as we learn new details.
Your personal information may have been part of a data breach back in February. Well, now the Attorney General Keith Ellison is providing resources to keep your information protected. Change Healthcare, which is a unit of United Health, it was hit with a cyber attack earlier this year, but there are ways to stay safe, like using free credit monitoring and identity theft protection services. More info on those services, you can find that at changecybersupport.com. Do, though, have some warning signs for your information being used, and those would include bills for services that you never received, medical records showing a pre-existing condition you don't have, or medical debt notices for debt you don't owe.
Senator Tina Smith's new legislation would put an end to veteran homelessness across the nation. Just yesterday, the Minnesota senator introduced the Housing for All Veterans Act. If this legislation became law, it would guarantee access to a housing voucher for all veterans who need it. These vouchers would be phased in over 5 years, starting with the veterans with the greatest need.
Happening today, the Caravan for Disability Freedom and Justice is pulling into St. Paul. So from noon until 2, everyone is welcome to learn more about disability voting rights and other issues facing the disability community. This caravan is traveling 20,000 miles all across the U.S. to bring attention to disability rights. Today's event will be held at the Metropolitan Center for Independent Living. So as construction continues at MSP International's Terminal 1, crews might want to make space for a trophy case.
The airport earned the honor of Best in the U.S. by Travel and Leisure. More than 186,000 of its readers filled out a survey that graded airports on 5 categories: access, check-in, security, restaurants, shopping, and overall design. MSP got high marks for being easy for travelers to navigate. Back in March, MSP was named the best airport in North America by the Airports Council International. It has won that award for 3 straight years.
And if you're curious, here's a look at the airports that rounded out the top 5 by Travel and Leisure. So got MSP, of course, number 1, Rhode Island's TF Green International number 2, Palm Beach number 3, Savannah Hilton Head number 4, and Indianapolis number 5. And well deserved.
Yes,
I should say. We have a great airport here, so I'm glad Travel and Leisure is recognizing it and telling everybody else about it.
Always good.
Yeah, let's hit the roads now. Take a look at your next drive. I'm going to take you down to Burnsville this morning. So this is 35 right at Crystal Lake Road. Things moving along really nicely here. Actually moving along really nicely all across the metro. We don't have any crashes to report. Your 169s, 494s, 62s, those are all busy. Those are generally busy this time of morning, especially on a Thursday. So it should be a pretty normal commute for you if you are headed out the door right now.
For your money this morning, sometimes you have to spend money to save money. That's what Costco hopes its members think.
Retailer raising its membership fees. So the basic membership is going to go up by $5. That'll bring it now to $65. The executive memberships, they're going up $10 to $130. These new fees will go into effect September 1st.
Sam's Club shoppers will soon have to spend more money to get free shipping, delivery, and curbside pickup. Starting August 19th, Sam's Club Plus members must spend at least $50 to get free shipping and free same-day delivery. Orders of less than $50 will incur an $8 flat shipping rate for most purchases. Before the changes, the Sam's Club Plus membership came with free shipping with no minimum purchase.
And you'll have less time to grab groceries at the Lunds & Byerly's in downtown Minneapolis. The grocery chain says it is cutting back its hours at that location starting on Monday. So it'll now be open from 10 a.m. to 7 p.m. Lund says it also is shifting to self-service at the deli, the meats, the seafoods. We are told no changes are planned for any other locations. Did I say Minneapolis? I meant downtown St. Paul, Lunds & Byerly's.
Got it. So now may be a good time to stock up on stamps.
Because prices are going up again on Sunday, starting July 14th. The cost of a first-class Forever stamp, that'll increase from 68 cents to 73 cents. It's a pretty big jump, 5 cents there. Postal Service says that the price hikes are needed to achieve the financial stability. This is all part of a 10-year plan that they announced back in 2021. This marks the second increase in stamp prices just this year.
Touchscreen devices like tablets may be detrimental to toddlers' development. That's the conclusion of a new study published in JAMA Network Open. Researchers found tablet usage was associated with decreased attention and responsiveness, while playing with physical toys was associated with better language skills. They say tablets can constrain play for toddlers in a way that real toys do not. Coming up, we're preparing for even more intense heat this weekend. We'll tell you why some neighborhoods will be hotter than others and what we can do as a solution.
And climate change comes as a cost, the price tag on natural disasters, and how much you may have to pay in your lifetime. But before we go to break, let's take a live look up north, International Falls. Good morning to our friends at Camp Idlewood. Pretty shot out there. Smooth water. It's going to get hot. Katie will have all the details when we come back. And as always, we will continue to keep you up to date on the latest news and weather developments all day right here on the stream, because you know we love heading to the cabin country every summer.
We're going to the lake, and I packed my road trip essentials. My sunglasses, of course, a hat for some shade, a little water bottle here. Cannot forget my phone for some music, so I am ready to hit the road.
We are ready for some fun in the sun. Deer River, get ready. You ain't seen nothing like this coming before. Got my CCO koozie. I've got this shark for whatever Amelia wants to do with that, along with the flamingo. We cannot wait to see you out there. Let's hit the road.
I don't know if it's the Monster Energy or the flamingo that gets me on that one, but obviously AJ very excited. He and Amelia hitting the road this morning here. As again, they are headed up to Deer River there, so you can catch them, as AJ said, 4, 5, 6, 10, and then of course we will have a look at what is happening. Here's AJ with a preview.
I am trading the anchor chair for the next weather tracker because it is time for me to hit the road. I am on my way right now. I'm in the next weather tracker, and I actually right now, as we speak, I am getting ready to go up to, that's right, the Deer River area, because we are getting ready to hit the road for going to the lake. So we've got all kinds of fun planned. So from Minneapolis, it's about 3.5 hours. I've got the tunes planned. Amelia and I are going to have a great time. We've got all kinds of stuff planned. We asked Facebook voters what they wanted us to do, and the #1 response was go to Sportsman's Cafe. You have to have the stuffed hash browns, so we're going to have the stuffed hash browns. They've got 50-cent coffee, too, as well. We're going to be over on Lake Winnie doing all kinds of water activities. And not only that, they actually have a wild rice festival that we're going to be taking part of that's actually going on. So we're going to take part in that and tell you about that. All kinds of water activities up there. We're going to do some bowling, too. So much fun. So make sure you stay tuned. The times, 4, 5, 6, and 10 o'clock tonight. And then do it all again on Friday. We're going to do it all again on Friday. We're going to have so much fun. We'll see you when we get up to the lake.
They're going to hydro bike, too. Isn't that cool? Super pumped to see that. Coming up today in mid-morning at 9, sky's the limit for Bethel University's Rocket team. We are finding out how they won another big championship. And we want to know if you played along in our poll today. Wanted to know, which Summer Olympic event are you most excited for? Of course, gymnastics. I mean, that's maybe my answer. I'm very biased in all this. I also love track and field. I also love swimming. I also love beach volleyball. Weightlifting, can't do it, but I find these people absolutely amazing. So if I'm going to vote today, which I will, I feel like I should vote for every single one here. But thank you for voting. We always love to hear from you. Easy to do. Scan the QR code, WCCO.com/connect, and you can also provide feedback to us. We'd love to hear from you. We'll be back with more news headlines coming up after a quick break.
watching WCCO Mornings, always streaming on CBS News Minnesota.
7:56 now on this Thursday morning. Katie will have your next weather forecast coming up in just a minute. But first, happening today, the Caravan for Disability Freedom and Justice is pulling into St. Paul. So from noon until 2, everyone welcome to learn more about disability voting rights and other issues that are facing the disability community. This caravan traveling 20,000 miles across all the U.S. to bring attention to disability rights. Today's event will be held at the Metropolitan Center for Independent Living. And let's take a look at your next drive. I'm going to take you up to Fridley this morning. So this is 694 over at Main Street. This is just your normal traffic this time of morning. MnDOT not reporting any crashes right now. You can see the Metro map. There is plenty of red, but it's in all the normal spots. So I'm going to call this a normal Thursday morning in the summer commute for you. Katie?
It's going to be a nice one, too. We had some fog starting off, but as you can see behind me, it has burned off. We got a little bit up in Hinckley, a little bit warmer, but other than that, things are looking good. You're going to see a beautiful day. Lots of sunshine, high temperature right around 86 degrees, winds nice and light. I like to call this a top 11 weather day. We had the fog in the morning, so not a top 10 weather day, but pretty darn close. It's going to be beautiful. Enjoy it because we're talking 90s as we go into the weekend. So enjoy 86 degrees as your high temperature for today.
Watching WCCO Mornings, always streaming on CBS News Minnesota.
Next on WCCO Mornings, fighting for family, how one mother's heartache turned into a blessing for other parents, and the new law to help keep families together.
And strike extended, how much longer Minneapolis Parks workers will be staying on the pickets.
Plus, we are preparing for even more intense heat this weekend. We'll tell you why some neighborhoods will be hotter than others and what we can do as a solution.
And later, sipping lemonade and saving lives. A Minnesota boy is hoping his lemonade stand sales will help a local animal rescue keep its mission on track. We'll tell you how. Good morning and welcome to WCCO Mornings, streaming live on CBS News Minnesota. I'm Shayla Reeves.
And I'm Heather Brown. Thanks so much for being with us on the stream. We want to get straight to your top headlines. A popular park just north of the metro, now the scene of a tragedy. So Quarry Park and Nature Preserve, it's in Waite Park. It's just outside of St. Cloud. It includes two swimming pools, two swimming areas, I should say, in the pits where crews used to mine for granite. Investigators say a 17-year-old boy was swimming there on Tuesday, and he had jumped into the water from a 10-foot cliff. He never came back to the surface. First responders found his body a few hours later. He was under 30 feet of water.
We have the latest on a strike impacting parks across Minnesota's largest city. Workers say they will stay off the job longer than originally planned and continue to picket at Minneapolis parks. Park workers are fighting for better pay and benefits. Their week-long strike was supposed to end yesterday, but now they say there's no end in sight because the park board won't come back to the bargaining table.
The parks are one of this city's very best assets, and we do that work. We make that a reality. We want to get back to doing that work.
Last night, the park board said it will not return to the bargaining table until the union allows members to vote on its latest offer. The workers maintain city parks, which are consistently ranked among the best in the nation. Park workers plan to picket today at Lindale Farmstead Park from 11 to 4, tomorrow at Pimento on the Lake from 2 to 6, Saturday at Minnehaha Falls from 12 to 4, and Sunday at the Lake Harriet Bandshell from 12 to 4. A state study released earlier this year found that while African-American youth make up 9% of the state population, they consist of 18% of the out-of-home placements in child protection cases. That's barely changed in 25 years.
Well, now there's a new law in Minnesota aims to curb the racial disparities of the child welfare system. Pauline Lee has a closer look at those changes.
Yeah, it's called the Minnesota African American Family Preservation and Child Welfare Disproportionality Act, and it's got bipartisan support. It's aiming to do a lot of good. So under this new law, social service agencies have to make active efforts to prevent those out-of-home placements for African American children and other kids disproportionately represented in the welfare system. It also sets new standards for when courts can terminate parental rights and orders them to place a child with a willing and able relative before foster care, among other provisions as well. Now, caseworkers paired with these families will also need to take cultural competency training. Declare Tripp fought for years to get her son out of the foster care system after she was mistakenly accused of abuse, and says this is one step closer to justice for all families.
It's really important to have this type of support. So when families go into the system and they are saying this is not what occurred, they can actually take a step and listen. And if there's no evidence to support what you're saying, then you can't just keep moving along because you have the power to do so.
Now, some things to note: the provisions of the law take effect in 2027. It's going to be phased in first for Hennepin and Ramsey counties starting next year, and then it will go statewide. Ladies.
Residents of Golden Valley will be learning about and discussing Islamophobia. So this forum is the second Hate Has No Home Here series. It's hosted by the city's Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Commission. So from 5 to 6:30, there will be a presentation and discussion on the increase of Islamophobia in the U.S. Back in April, the group had focused on anti-Semitism. In August, they'll focus on transphobia. Tonight's event will be at the Valley Community Presbyterian Church.
Biden is going to win. The team Biden-Harris is going to win, win, win.
He's got the stamina. He's up to the job and go out and do it.
Trump would be an absolute disaster for democracy, so I'm enthusiastically supporting Biden.
Renewed support for President Biden's presidential bid as a celebrity joins the ranks of Democratic lawmakers asking Biden to drop out of the race. Minnesota's governor, however, says if President Biden is going forward, he's with him, but the campaign needs to make changes.
You get out, you make yourself available, you do press conferences, you stand in front of people and take questions that weren't given to you ahead of time and do the best you can to answer those.
And that's what the president's plans to do. He'll hold a news conference this afternoon. Watch for a CBS News special report around 4:30. A new study finds some communities feel the summer heat more than others.
We got next weather meteorologist Adam Del Rosso showing us how drastically the urban heat island can vary from one neighborhood to the next.
It's summer, and that means it's time to sweat. As our planet continues to heat up because of climate change,
our immediate environment is impacting just how much we warm.
As we replace open space that's permeable and moist with roads and infrastructure that's dry and impermeable, that draws in heat.
Climate Central looked at 65 different urban heat islands, including Minneapolis. They found various hotspots that are significantly impacting 68% of the 50 million residents in the study. Michael Krish and his team at the Brown Institute were able to link that disparity in warming to the 1930s practice known as redlining, which barred black families from certain neighborhoods.
Historically redlined areas currently experience hotter summer temperatures than non-redlined communities in about 84% of major U.S. cities. And the disparities aren't small.
In Minneapolis, less affluent neighborhoods run up to 8 degrees hotter. In Rochester, it's a difference of nearly 7 degrees. And in St. Paul, the difference is closer to 3 degrees.
Extreme heat is the deadliest weather-related event that we experience. Heat is dangerous for everyone, but it's especially dangerous for those that might not have resources to cool off.
Adam Del Rosso, WCCO News.
Now, Chris says it is important to make sure that cooling centers are available in these spots. A longer-term plan could involve planting trees and adding green roofs, as well as other green spaces. All of those actions mentioned in the Met Council's current plan to combat climate change.
As temperatures heat up, many will hit the water to cool off, but more beaches in the metro are closing due to high bacteria levels. Excelsior closed its beaches last week, and 3 in Minneapolis are still off limits. They are North Beach at Badema-Casca, Southeast Beach at Lake Harriet, and Lake Hiawatha Beach. And if we take you outside, here's a live look. The sky clear blue right at this moment. We know the red weather tower means
warmer weather.
Warmer weather on the way.
Yeah,
That's
you're gonna need to find a beach without bacteria for the next couple of days.
A pool sounds pretty good.
Yeah, pool would be great. Any lake that isn't struggling with those issues should be fine too. 70 degrees is where we are already. We're kind of kicking off this little heat trend, and it's going to bring us through the weekend. So we're at 70 now, dew point 64. Our dew points will be in the low 60s throughout the day. They'll kind of climb as the week goes. So here's a look at those weather conditions. We had a little bit of fog in the Twin Cities. That's now burning off. 68 in St. Cloud, 67 right now in Brainerd. Here's a look at that temperature trend the next couple of days. So we are above average today, and we're going to stay above average until we get to early next week. So 88 is your high temperature on Friday. Both of these are going to be beautiful days. Saturday is going to be a nice day here in the Twin Cities. If you go up north, could see a chance for some showers and thunderstorms, but not going to be a washout by any means. I wouldn't say don't go up there because of it, because it is still going to be nice out there. We'll just see that chance for some rain. And then Sunday, that's going to be our next chance for storms here in the Twin Cities. Some of these could be severe. We're going to be watching that here in the next weather department. Will bring you more information as we have it. It's just too early to be really sure of anything right now this far out. And then 90 degrees there on Monday. Heat indexes on Sunday could be warmer than 100 degrees. And guys, this stretch of 91, 93, 90, probably it's the first time that we would get to 90 degrees if it happens this season. So something to keep watch out for. It is going to be hot this weekend. Enjoy today.
All right, Katie, thank you. We do want to take a look at your next drive. So start you out with the Metro map. It's pretty crowded out here this morning. We got a lot of people on the road, so your normal spots there are busy. 169, 62, 494, 94 there. But what else is going on here? Let's take you up over here to this one crash. Get you there. So this is at 169. So this one is, let me see if I can grab this for you. So this is over in the Minnetonka area. Edina area, 169 northbound. It's right between Interlochen and Excelsior Boulevard. Looks like it's not, oh, looks like maybe they're just pulling off over in that spot at this point. You got another crash to bring you here as well. This one is, you know what? This one is not causing any big backup. Oh, there you go. Silver Lake Road. Here, sorry, both of these just popped up at the same time, so I'm trying to get the info for you right now. So this is 694 eastbound, so right at Silver Lake there, you can see traffic pulled over to the shoulder, but we know there's a lot of people out there on the road, so if you are running into these spots, just give yourself just a little bit of extra time.
Last week, we brought you a story about Joe Carr's lemonade stand raising money for Gillette Children's Hospital. Well, this week, we're sipping lemonade from a stand on a mission to help a local animal rescue in need. WCCO's photojournalist Tony Peterson takes us to Princeton to meet 9-year-old Silas.
It's a nice small town. People really seem to come together when they need to.
Welcome to Lemonade by Silas. I'm Silas.
He's just got a big heart. I don't know how I got so lucky.
Do you want Country Town or Fresh Squeezed?
People seem to love it. They love what he's doing. He's out there mixing and shaking. Anyone who comes to his stand, he's got his little notepad there with his jar, and whoever comes up and gets, or honestly, anyone just passing by could write down charity of their choice and drop it in the jar, and then at the end of his stand, then he draws one from his jar. And lately, Rough Start's been
the winners.
We're from Rough Start, so we brought you a little t-shirt and a thank you note from the program as well. I think it's super inspiring. It kind of shows that everyone can do something, and I love that he has, the community involved. He has people writing down what charities they want to support as well. Really helps you kind of get to know what's in your community, and we're just honored to be a part of it.
He's a man of few words.
Yes. Do you want to pick a donation?
He's really proud of what he's doing as far as the charity goes with the donations.
Silas's donation just really helps inspire generosity too, and bringing people together.
Here's your lemonade.
That is really good. Bear's a cane corso, so he's a giant dog, and he needed some surgery on his leg. We posted on social media, and people took it upon themselves to kind of sponsor and double his donation towards the rescue too.
Very proud of him. He's a very cool kid. Big heart. Sometimes I also want to spend time with my grandma.
Here's
$1 tip. Thank you.
He loves talking to people and meeting people.
Best part is when you do it with your family.
He's a pretty awesome kid.
They want Country Town, that is for 50 cents. And Fresh Squeezed is only for $1.
Have a good day, Silas.
You too. Tuesdays and Fridays.
Awesome from Tony Peterson there, our photojournalist. And way to go, Silas. That's great.
Know, that's fantastic. Keep it up.
Yeah, coming up, a marathoner getting ready for the Olympics in Paris, what her training looks like here in Minnesota.
And we'll tell you the incredible story of a 97-year-old weightlifter who is inspiring others on social media.
Well, welcome back, everyone. In Ohio, a 97-year-old woman is inspiring others with her weightlifting journey. Merce Hershey decided to give the gym a try after her son suggested weightlifting could help her regain mobility. Well, that was 2 years ago. Now she's gone from pulling an 11-pound bar off a rack to lifting as much as 93 pounds. She's inspiring millions of people on social media. A video showing Hershey deadlifting 53 pounds off the floor went viral. Hershey now trains 2 days a week, and her efforts have paid off. She's gotten a lot stronger, and not only has her mobility improved, she said her joints and her back is better, and she's also seen improvements in her bone density. Way to go, Merce. Well, it's the very last event of the Paris Olympics this year, the women's marathon race, Mad. It's going to be run on one of the toughest courses in Olympic history. WCCO's Mariel Mose introduces us to a Minnesotan who makes up Team USA.
When I'm running around Lake Harriet or River Road in St. Paul, I get so many cheers and well wishes. Even around my neighborhood, I'll get an occasional like, "Go USA."
Most of Dakota Lindworm's training for Paris is running her favorite routes in the Twin Cities. There you go. Up. But strength has become a key to training for Paris because of the course she's about to take on.
Coming here 2 times a week is like a huge piece of my confidence because I know that I'm doing everything that I can to be prepared for the hills in Paris.
The St. Francis native has been working with Jimmy Wormuth at Training House in Eagan for 5 years now. He's added push and pull sleds to her workouts to get ready for the Olympic elevation.
There's about an 8-mile stretch of 1,000 feet of elevation gain. So we need to train our body in a little bit different. So if we can make her a lot stronger than those other marathoners out there, she's gonna have a great shot.
Back in February, she earned her spot on Team USA for the first time by landing in the top 3 with a 2-hour and 25-minute marathon. Jimmy was there to witness it and couldn't be more proud.
It's incredible to see her do this. She's put a lot of hard work. I've seen her lead a lot of races, and she might not know, but she's got a lot of people rooting for her.
Her biggest cheerleader, though, is her mom, who she lost to cancer in 2020.
It's hard not having her here to celebrate with, but I know that she's in heaven just like telling everybody, like, that's my kid, she's mine, telling everybody how proud she is of me. So I swear sometimes I can hear her up there when I'm racing.
Knowing she'll be cheering her on in Paris, too.
She's got the best seat in the house.
In Eagan, Mariel Mose, WCCO Sports.
And we're all cheering for you too, Dakota. So this had us thinking, what is your favorite Summer Olympic event? We want to know, so chime in. You can vote right there on that QR code on your screen. You can always go to WCCO.com/connect, and we're going to check back in with you in just a bit. And now here's Mike Max with a look at what's coming up in sports.
Good morning, everybody. The Minnesota Twins split a doubleheader with the Chicago White Sox yesterday. They take today off, and then it's San Francisco for 3 in California. Anthony Edwards was impressive last night, giving a boost to Team USA in their exhibition game against Canada. Now, the rookies will head to Las Vegas and play their own form of a tournament. That starts tomorrow. Amongst the players to watch, Terrence Shannon, a first-round pick from Illinois, and he says he's going to Vegas to win a tournament.
I want to win the whole league. Anything I do, I want to compete and win. But that's what I anticipate. I anticipate us winning, all of us going out and playing hard and getting the win.
The Minnesota Wild have their own version of rookie camp going on all week. They don't play other teams, a lot of inter-squad action, and a lot of focus on the players that they drafted highly in the last couple of years. One of them is Riley Heidt. He played in the major junior program in Canada last year. He's just 18 years old, but he could be in the NHL sooner than later.
Personally, I believe that I have a good shot. I think, I've worked so hard my whole life, and, I think I fit right in. So, it's just, going to come down to myself and, competing every day and trying to make it. So, that's what I want to do. It's been my dream since day one. I wouldn't be playing this sport if I didn't want to do that. So.
More on the Wolves and the Wild and the Gopher football team. That's right, the Gopher football team makes a media appearance. We'll bring you that tonight at 6 o'clock on WCCO TV. For CBS News Minnesota, I'm Mike Max with your morning sports update.
Thanks, Maxie. Coming up, another update on weather, plus some more of this morning's top headlines. Stay with us.
watching WCCO Mornings, always streaming on CBS News Minnesota.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us. I'm Pauline Lee. Katie Steiner will have your next weather forecast in just a minute. But first, your personal information may have been a part of a data breach back in February. Now, Attorney General Keith Ellison is providing resources to keep your information protected. Change Healthcare, a unit of United Healthcare, was hit with a cyber attack earlier this year, but there are ways to stay safe, like using free credit monitoring and identity theft protection services. More information on those services can be found at changecybersupport.com. Some warning signs your information is being used includes bills for services that you never received, medical records showing a pre-existing condition you don't have, or medical debt notices for debt you don't owe. Minneapolis Parks workers aren't ready to lay down their pickets just yet. Workers say they will stay off the job longer than originally planned. They are fighting for better pay and benefits. And their week-long strike was supposed to end yesterday, but now they say there's no end in sight because the Parks Board won't come back to the bargaining table. Parks Board said it will not return to the bargaining table until the union allows members to vote on its latest offer. The workers maintain city parks, which are consistently ranked as among the best in the nation. Let's take you out onto the roads right now because we are keeping an eye on one incident here. This one up in the New Brighton area. This is on 694 eastbound. You can see several cars off to the side there, so traffic can move along great this morning. But just a heads up for you if you're headed in that area. For the most part, we're doing pretty good as we take a look at the Metro-wide map here. Just the usual slowdowns for your Thursday morning as you head out the door. Now let's get a check of our forecast with meteorologist Katie Steiner.
Yeah, it's going to be a beautiful day out there, Pauline. 70 degrees is where we are already. Our dew point coming in at 64. It is going to be a warm one. Here's our temperatures all across the state. We're in the 60s on that cusp of 70 degrees, and in the Twin Cities, 86 is your high temperature. Tomorrow, we're at 88. Lots of sunshine both days. Enjoy it.
You're watching WCCO Mornings, always streaming on CBS News Minnesota.
Next on WCCO Mornings, the search for a missing woman in Dakota County continues. Why her family says it's urgent that they find her and how you can help bring her home. And how to keep your information protected after a recent healthcare cyber attack. Plus, pushing back against the president, the famous celebrity joining the ranks of lawmakers calling for President Biden to drop out of the race. Then later, climate change comes with a cost. The price tag on natural disasters and how much you may have to pay in your lifetime. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to WCCO Mornings, streaming live on CBS News Minnesota. I'm Pauline Lee. Thank you so much for joining us. Let's get straight to your top headlines this morning because the circumstances around the disappearance of a Dakota County woman have the family members urgently asking for help. 56-year-old Nicole, or Nikki Anderson, has been missing since Saturday. She is from Randolph Township, which is just west of Cannon Falls. Our Jason Rantala spoke to worried family members.
This just doesn't happen here until now.
This is the last area where 56-year-old Nikki Anderson was spotted here outside her home in Randolph Township. This video,
It's nice out.
taken from the Ring camera at her home, showing her last known whereabouts.
She never came back. That was it. Last time I seen her.
The Dakota County Sheriff's Office says they've searched the property and surrounding ones with drones and canines. The Sheriff's Office says Anderson was last seen at the property at 10 a.m. Saturday, wearing dark-colored pants, sandals, and a long gray sweatshirt. Her family says she was going to check the mail, but never returned.
She can't survive very long if we don't find her.
Anderson has been undergoing chemo, fighting a 2-year battle with breast cancer. She left behind not only her medication, but also her glasses, phone, wallet.
She didn't even look at her and see how sad she is.
Even her dog, Star.
She should never go without her dog or without her phone.
On Monday, the Sheriff's Office says they spent 10 hours here searching for Anderson. A State Patrol helicopter checked the area again Tuesday.
Even if it's a weird thing, call in. They need a clue from the general public.
Family now pleading for someone to come forward with information.
It's the only way we're ever going to find her.
In Randolph Township, Jason Rantala, WCCO News.
Now, if you have any tips, you're asked to contact the Dakota County Sheriff's Office. If you happen to see Nikki, call 911. 15 autism centers throughout the state are under investigation by the Minnesota Department of Human Services. These investigations are centered around possible Medicaid fraud. The Minnesota DHS has conducted several investigations and taken measures to withhold payments following credible allegations. And we'll be sure to keep you updated as soon as we learn more. Well, your personal information may have been part of a data breach back in February. Now, Attorney General Keith Ellison is providing resources to keep your information protected. Change Healthcare, it's a unit of United Health, was hit with a cyber attack earlier this year. But there are ways to stay safe, like using free credit monitoring and identity theft protection services. More information on those services can be found on changecybersupport.com. Now, some warning signs that your information is being used includes bills for services that you never received, medical records showing a pre-existing condition that you don't have, or medical debt notices for debt that you don't owe. Senator Tina Smith's new legislation would put an end to veteran homelessness across the nation. Just yesterday, the Minnesotan senator introduced the Housing for All Veterans Act. Now, this is legislation that became law. If it would become law, it would guarantee access to a housing voucher for all veterans who need it. Now, these vouchers would be phased in over 5 years, starting with the veterans with the greatest need. Today, President Biden is scheduled to hold a rare solo news conference as the NATO summit wraps up in Washington. Also today, some of the president's top advisors are expected to meet with Senate and Senate Democrats to address their concerns after at least one sitting senator joining calls for Biden to bow out of the 2024 race. CBS News' Jared Hill has the latest.
May we continue to grow stronger and closer in all the years ahead.
President Joe Biden and NATO leaders toasted a unified alliance as the president's support among members of his own party stands on shakier ground. Wednesday, Vermont Democrat Peter Welch became the first sitting senator to call on Biden to pull out of the presidential race. The same day, Democratic Party megadonor George Clooney dealt Biden another blow, calling on the president to step aside in a New York Times op-ed. The actor described his interactions with the president at a fundraiser he hosted for Biden 3 weeks ago, writing he wasn't even the Joe Biden of 2020. He was the same man we all witnessed at the debate.
Biden can ignore the polls. He can't ignore fundraising. And that's why George Clooney's statement matters.
The decision is the president's.
Former House Speaker Nancy Pelosi said in an interview yesterday, it's up to the president to decide if he's going to stay in the race. But Mr. Biden's already announced he has no plans to drop out.
Anybody saying that he should resign is a big mistake. We have a wonderful president right now.
Everybody knows that at some point you got to take your grandparents' keys, like probably around the age Joe Biden is.
Biden's Republican rival, former President Donald Trump, slammed both Pelosi and Clooney on social media yesterday, while also poking at the Democrats' infighting. Jared Hill, CBS News.
Now, after tonight's news conference, President Biden will hold a campaign event in Michigan tomorrow. Former President Trump is also back on the campaign trail this weekend in Pennsylvania. A Democratic lawmaker is trying to impeach 2 Supreme Court justices. Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez has introduced impeachment articles against Justices Clarence Thomas and Samuel Alito. She says their failures to disclose millions of dollars worth of gifts while on the high court, quote, represents nothing less than a constitutional crisis. This effort from Ocasio-Cortez is expected to fail in the Republican-led House of Representatives. For your money this morning, are you shipping anything soon? Because now may be a good time to stock up on stamps. Prices are going up again on Sunday. Starting July 14th, the cost of first-class Forever stamps will increase from 68 cents to 73 cents. That's about a 5-cent jump and is an increase of more than 7%. The U.S. Postal Service says price hikes are needed to achieve financial stability as part of a 10-year plan announced in 2021. This marks the second increase in stamp prices this year. Let's take a live look outside right now. As you can see, blue skies this morning. Things are about to heat up. So let's check in with next weather meteorologist Katie Steiner. Katie, good to see you. How's it going?
Good morning. Well, we're starting to heat up already all across the state of Minnesota. So it doesn't matter if you live to the north, to the south, if you live in the middle, if you live in western Wisconsin, we are talking very warm temperatures. And today it's going to be beautiful. And our temperatures, what I just find funny is everyone is right about the same temperature for today. And I'll show you that in just a minute. Dew points, that's part of the story. It's going to start to get muggier and muggier as we go on. Here's a good little dew point tracker for you. Today, it's going to be a little sticky. Tomorrow will be a little bit more sticky. And then as we get to the weekend, it's just going to be muggy and hot. And by Sunday, you're going to be swimming through the air as you walk around. So here's a look at your temperatures for today. Look, we're at 85 up to the north, 85 to the south, 86 in the middle, 87 in St. Cloud, 86 is your high temperature here in the Twin Cities. If you live in western Wisconsin, guess what? We're talking mid-80s. That's what we're going to see both today and tomorrow. But today is probably going to be the nicer day of the two because not so muggy like we talked about. And also the winds aren't going to be as high. It's not going to be anything drastic, but we are going to see light winds today. Here's a look at the metro. Again, our temperatures are going to be, you guessed it, in the mid-80s. Here we are. 86 in Roseville, 86 in Brooklyn Park. If you want to guess your high temperature for today in the metro, 86 is probably a good guess. 84 in Stillwater. In Hampton, you're coming in at 85 degrees. Average temperature about 84. We are going to be above that at 86. And your average high temperature is we're 84. And we're just going to be warmer and warmer as we go along. So our low temperature tonight, about 4 degrees above average, 70 degrees. That's pretty warm for this time of year. And then tomorrow, we're going to be even warmer. We're going to be in the high 80s here in the Twin Cities, 88 in the Twin Cities, 85 in Grand Rapids, and 84 in Mankato. Then things start to change a little bit. We're starting to see some shower and thunderstorm activity up to the north. This is not going to be a washout by any means. You just have a chance for a couple of rounds, especially if you're going to be going to the cabin. You can see around 1 here and could potentially see around 2. So in the early morning and then the later morning, if you live towards the west, if you live in the east, we could see those showers and thunderstorms come in the afternoon. Then we could see our next chance for rain here in the Twin Cities is going to be on Sunday. We're going to talk more about that as we get closer to it. We're just too far away from this as we are right now. But as we get closer and as we get more information, we will, of course, pass that along. 91 degrees is your high temperature on Saturday. Again, remember, dew points are going to rise, so it's going to be even stickier out there. In fact, Saturday could be the first day that we get to 90 degrees of the entire season. So keep that in mind. Our heat index, if you combine the actual air temperatures and our dew points, how humid it is outside, you can see Saturday we're going to feel close to 100 degrees. Sunday it could feel more than 100 degrees at 101. And then on Monday we could get as high as 98 degrees for that heat index. So this weekend is going to be hot. Prepare for it. Lots of water. If you're doing anything outside, like if you have any athletic activity, you want to hydrate the day before to give your body some extra moisture, extra water. So if you're going to be doing anything this weekend, or you had kids doing anything this weekend, start hydrating now. It's very important. 93 on Sunday, again, that chance for storms. And then Monday, 90. Tuesday, Wednesday, we go back to our average temperature. Pauline?
Ooh, all right, Katie, thank you very much. Let's take you out onto the roads right now because we are still keeping an eye on this issue here. This one up in New Brighton, it's been there for quite a while. So you've got several cars off to the side, and it looks like now one lane might be blocked there. So this is off of 694 eastbound. This is near Silver Lake Road and the exit for Long Lake Road. So you see those emergency vehicles there, cars trying to move over. Just a heads up for you, this is really the only thing that is impacting your traffic as you head out the door this morning. As you take a look at the Metro-wide map, for the most part, you're just seeing the average slowdowns that you normally see on your Thursday morning. So for the most part, you're good to go as you head out the door. We're looking forward to some summer fun as WCCO is going to the lake. But what will the weather look like up in Deer River for some of our friends? Plus, Minnesotans finally have their heads above water. How the state is recovering after those devastating floods. Stay with us. Well, welcome back, everyone. According to the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, weather disasters are becoming more frequent. Well, as these events increase, the cost of cleanup continues to rise as well. And it's not just for the people living in these affected areas that are on the hook. The cost of climate change is impacting all Americans. According to NOAA, as of July 9th, there have been 15 confirmed weather or climate disasters in the U.S., with losses exceeding $1 billion each just this year. A study looking at the cost of climate change found that a baby born in the U.S. in 2024 could pay nearly $500,000 in climate change costs over their lifetime.
What we're seeing today is really just the tip of the iceberg in terms of what people can expect. We expect, without mitigation, for things to just keep getting worse.
The cost of housing, energy, food, healthcare, and transportation are all going to rise as disasters become more frequent. A new video is giving us a look at Valley Fair. A few weeks ago, floodwaters from the Minnesota River forced the park to close 3 rides. As you can see, water has gone down quite a bit. Renegade and Excalibur roller coasters, they are back open, but Thunder Canyon is still closed, unfortunately. Valley Fair says the rides went through rigorous safety inspections before reopening. The flooding cleanup continues in parts of southern and northern Minnesota. It's a reminder of how quickly these events can happen and how permanently lives can be changed. Tonight on Talking Points, checking in on climate change here and across the nation. Here's Esme Murphy with a preview.
Tonight on Talking Points, taking stock of climate change in the aftermath of devastating floods in Minnesota. You'll hear what experts are saying about how often we'll see this in the future. A hint, the answer is often. What the state is doing to mitigate climate change impacts and raise awareness. An analysis from legendary polar explorer Will Steger, who has banged the drum longest and loudest on this issue, and why he thinks there is room for optimism, especially right here. That's tonight in Talking Points. I'm Esme Murphy, WCCO News.
And you can join the conversation tonight at 6:30 and 9:30 on CBS News Minnesota right here. Tomorrow, and the show will be posted onto YouTube for on-demand viewing. So take a live look outside. Look at that, clear blue skies on this Thursday. Our next weather tower, though, you saw it there shining red, which means warmer weather ahead. And boy, is it going to get warm. So let's check in with next weather meteorologist Katie Steiner.
Good morning. Today we're kick off a little heat wave here. So 86 degrees is your high temperature for today. Tomorrow it's going to be sunny, just like it is going to be today as well. Then we get to the really, really hot stuff, and 93 degrees isn't really that hot, but with that heat index, it could feel like more than 100 degrees. So get ready for that on Sunday. Sunday is also going to be our next best chance for storms, and we'll keep you updated here in the Next Weather Center for that.
All right, Katie, thank you. And did you play along today in today's poll? The question was, what Summer Olympic event are you most excited about? So let's hear what you had to say. All right, no surprise here. Most of us are excited for gymnastics. I'm with you, 43%. Track and field, I love the steeplechase. 29% of you said that. Beach volleyball is always a favorite as well. 14% of you said that. Weightlifting, I don't know how they do it, but it's very impressive. 14% of you said you were looking forward to that. Thank you to everyone for chiming in this morning. We do appreciate it. The WCCO team loves packing up the car and heading to the cabin each summer.
We're going to the lake, and I packed my road trip essentials. My sunglasses, of course, a hat for some shade, a little water bottle here. Cannot forget my phone for some music, so I am ready to hit the road.
We are ready for some fun in the sun. Deer River, get ready. You ain't seen nothing like this coming before. Got my CCO koozie. I've got this shark or whatever Amelia wants to do with that, along with the flamingo. We cannot wait to see you out there. Let's hit the road.
Okay, I cannot underscore how excited I am to see that adventure, especially for Amelia. We are so excited to be on the road again this morning. AJ is probably the most excited of all. He's headed up to the lakes with Amelia. So here's a small preview of what's in store.
I am trading the anchor chair for the next weather tracker because it is time for me to hit the road. I am on my way right now. I'm in the next weather tracker, and I actually right now, as we speak, I am getting ready to go up to, that's right, the Deer River area because we're getting ready to hit the road for going to the lake. So we've got all kinds of fun plans. So from Minneapolis, it's about 3.5 hours. I've got the tunes planned. Amelia and I are going to have a great time. We've got all kinds of stuff planned. We asked Facebook voters what they wanted us to do, and the #1 response was go to Sportsman's Cafe. You have to have the stuffed hash browns, so we're going to have the stuffed hash browns. They've got 50-cent coffee, too, as well. We're going to be over on Lake Winnie doing all kinds of water activities. And not only that, they actually have a wild rice festival that we're going to be taking part of that's actually going on. So we're going to take part in that and tell you about that. All kinds of water activities up there. We're going to do some bowling, too. So much fun. So make sure you stay tuned. The times, 4, 5, 6, and 10 o'clock tonight. And then do it all again on Friday. We're going to do it all again on Friday. We're going to have so much fun. We'll see you when we get up to the lake.
Cannot wait. And also coming up on mid-morning at 9, sky's the limit for Bethel University's rocket team. We're finding out how they won another big championship. Thank you so much for joining us today on the stream. We'll be back with more news and weather headlines coming up after a quick break.
watching WCCO Mornings, always streaming on CBS News Minnesota.
Good Thursday morning, 8:55. Now, rain out, heat in. Katie Steiner.
All the things. If you were kind of like, oh, I really wish I could have gotten outside yesterday. Well, today is your day. It's lots of sunshine, blue skies, 70 degrees out there. Our dew point is holding steady at 64. I think it'll drop a little bit, but it's going to be nice. I like to call these days top 11 weather days. Like there was something about them that didn't make them a top 10 weather day. We had some fog in the morning, but otherwise, gosh, it's going to be beautiful. 70 degrees is where we are. 68 in St. Cloud, 67 in Brainerd. And if you look at the next couple of days, they're going to be nice. So today, 86, sunshine, light winds, not that bad humidity. Then we get to tomorrow, humidity increases a bit, winds increase a bit. We'll still have lots of sunshine. Our temperatures are going to increase a bit too, 88 degrees. And that just kind of sets the trend because as you look ahead to your weekend, it's going to get warm. And guys, those aren't even our feels like temperatures added in. So you can expect to feel like potentially 100 degrees.
I mean, because it's going to be humid too.
Yes, very humid. Yep, you're going to combine those two, and it's just going to be hot and muggy. Right. Welcome to Minnesota in July.
Exactly. All right, we have a preview of mid-morning coming up. Stay with us. Coming up today on Mid-Morning, we're excited to try one of the most intriguing new fair foods.
Deep fried ranch. Yeah, we're going to see what that is all about. Plus, parents are usually pretty busy, so we are talking about some research that shows some people also feeling really lonely. We'll look into why that might be.
And did you get a good night's sleep? Well, are you still yawning this morning? We're looking for your feedback on how often you feel tired during the day. And we're grilling with local meats and veggies from Seward Co-op.
And we have baby pictures from Katie Steiner as she is back. Mid-morning coming up in just a minute. now in WCCO Mid-Morning, the search is on for a missing woman, how her family is holding out hope that you can help find her.
The latest is out on inflation, and we're talking with CBS News business analyst Jill Schlesinger to break it down.
Sky's the limit for Bethel University's rocket team. We are finding out how they won another big championship.